The school is always the central focus of any community, and so it was and is in Lead Hill, Arkansas. We have taken the time with a group of Lead Hill friends to share with you the unusual history and memories of the old Lead Hill School. The school actually precedes the town of Lead Hill. Joe Coker in 1849 donated a parcel of land for a school, a church, and a cemetery, and then hauled logs from near Omaha. In 1889 and 1890, a school was built near the Pruitt's old home and the Bill Magnus place near Highway 7 and south of the road to Cedar Grove Cemetery. In 1924, funds were solicited to build a new school, and $10,000 was raised in 3 days. Gifts ranged from $5 to $1,000. This school had 4 large classrooms to accommodate 40 students in each room and an auditorium that would seat 300. This was to replace the 1890 building that was too small and worn out. There were many small schools in the area, and the consolidation of 8 schools came into the Lead Hill district. On April the 3rd, 1942, this school would burn.
Later than anything, I was coming off the hill with my dad, and we'd been up to feed his goats that he had bought some goats, and we saw this huge fire down here, and it was our schoolhouse being burnt.
The steps can be seen today at the rodeo grounds in Lead Hill. There's also a slab behind the steps of many of the graduates of the old Lead Hill schools. The gym was almost finished when the building burned, and so the school moved into the gym, and this became known understandably as the gym school. Some of the classes met in area churches. This building, the gym school, was torn down in 1951. Because of the lake coming in, the school was moved to the present-day location in Lead Hill, Arkansas.
Well, I remember May Green was my teacher. And then you could go to school and visit. A sister or a sibling could go and visit. So I went with my sister Janelle, and I was so sweet and kind and quiet. So she told Janelle, bring me back the next day, and I was 5 years old and got to start there. And Helena Bailey was the 2nd grade teacher. Catherine Rayleigh was another teacher, and I can't go from there, okay. But the one I remember most was Martha Jean Jarvis. And I finished there until that school burned. Then I went to the gymnasium school where all classes was in that one building, and I graduated from there.
I think at my dad's folks, and when we came back, I don't remember who we met up the road or something, but they said the school had burned. And I think I remember them telling, and I was saying I was so proud of it. I wouldn't have to go to school, I didn't think. Anyway, our class was always small because four in my graduating class. That was the year there was so much turmoil in the school, you know. Yellville, and some went to School Ozarks, and some stayed here, and it was kind of mixed up here that year. And that was the year I graduated, when they moved down here.
Well, the school had run out of money, and we didn't know if we was going to get our caps and gowns in time. I think they came the day before the graduation. But when we had the pictures printed by Intercollegiate Press, but the other material for the annual didn't come until after school was out. And I carried the materials from the post office in Lead Hill to my house, and then back to the Agri building where Imogene Farmer helped me run these on the old crank type machine. Bud Bailey brought me a typewriter from school that I typed the stencils on. And then we, after we got them ran, Ruth Ann Magnus, Margaret McLean, and I laid them out on the rocks at the creek. It was on DeShields Creek, yeah, and we assembled them there. And then Ruth Magnus and Ruth Ann delivered anything that was within driving distance. When I started school, it was in the old building that burned. And it burned, I think, in April. And then I went to finished out in the Christian church. And then we went to school in the gymnasium until I graduated in '51. I remember the steam radiators that they had. The steam radiators that you could back up to and get warm. And I said, I know that's what's wrong with my knees today. Too much basketball on the concrete gym floor.
To make sure we understand the chronological order of the Lead Hill School, let's do a recap. The school actually preceded Lead Hill when Joe Coker gave land for a school, a church, and cemetery in 1849. He hauled logs from Omaha for the building. Then Lead Hill built a school in 1889 and 90, which became too small and worn out. So in 1924, $10,000 was raised in just 3 days for the building of a new school. Later on, a gym construction was started, but before it was finished, the 1924 building burned on April 3, 1942. Many students attended classes in the local churches. The Agri students were asked to help finish the gym school. In 1951, the school year ended a month early because of lack of financial funds. This was a time of turmoil for Lead Hill because of the Bull Shoals Lake project that would completely cover the town of Lead Hill, Arkansas. So the moving of the town caused many problems. The school divided, and many went to Yaleville, several to the School of the Ozarks. Only 4 were in the graduating class of 1952 in Lead Hill, and they did not have a graduation. In 1953, the school is together in a new location that we have today.
When I started in the first grade, about 1945, I rode some of the flat-top school buses down to where the Lead Hill boat dock is today. And they actually took rake teeth and straightened out and made up and down the windows on the outside to keep the windows from getting beat out from limbs. And with that said, I went to school in the picture that you have showing right now where it's set is where the picnic ground is, where the music and the dancing, and they built a little pavilion there. Now that's where I started the school, right there. And we continued there plumb on up till, I don't know, I was about the 7th grade when the lake went in, and that's when we went to school in the church houses. And they split us up and all over. Now, they moved the town, the government come in, and they bought the ground where the town is today. And that's where they wanted the post office and everything to be, and that's where it is. And with that said, we went to school, though, in the churches. They was one of the first buildings that was built. Now, I went to school at the one that they call the South Lead Hill. We went to school there up for, I don't know, 1 year, that as I remember it. And then we came back and they had the building over here built, and that's where we were when we were into the 8th grade. And I don't know, it's went from there plumb on up till we graduated in '57 here.
Okay, I graduated in '57 with the same year Jack and Embry and these other guys did, but you know, that's been a long time ago. I was in Marion County And Marion, we went to school at Possum Trot, part of the first year of my first grade, about half of the year. Possum Trot community down there. The old school building had been turned into a house. But I remember riding the bus to Lead Hill, and it came across down by where Roberts Resort is now, and they call that the Moon Hill down there. You know, there was a big hill on each side of the creek. So a lot of times we came to school, and if it snowed, we couldn't get home. You know, the bus couldn't get up there. And the old buses were wooden buses, I guess, that Mr. Campbell built. And the seats were in line, 2 in the middle looking out and 2 on the side looking in. So, and they wasn't always full, the folks, but the campus down here, where the old concrete structure is there, that was the front entrance to the main school building down there. The ag building was, Embry has a picture here that it was over to the, if you're looking from the lake up toward in the direction of the picnic ground, the other building was over to the left where they had agri classes, and they were distinctly apart, you know.
Wonderful teacher. She wanted to teach us to sew and to cook. We always had to cook a meal, and we had to, of course, make a dress. First time we had to make an apron, and then we had to make a dress. And I remember Kay, which was my dear friend, she had a zipper in the side of this dress. She had to take that out so many times, it had holes. But you ripped it out until you got it right. I don't care how many holes you cut in your dress. And then we had style shows. Oh, she went all out. She was the most wonderful production lady to putting on a style show. And we all had to model our dresses. In fact, I have the first dress that I made in high school still. It's a little pink and green plaid with little white sleeves and collar on it. We learned it. We did kind of a cookbook. We all had to have a recipe. And I remember I made a Jeff Davis pie. That's what I put in the cookbook. And one time, I think it was Mrs. McCain, she wanted us to bake a cake for some reason. She was having company that night. So Ms. Green wanted me to take it down to her. She was in the library. And I met Jack coming up the wall down there. And here I was with this cake, and he made a grab for that cake, and I dropped it and turned it upside down.
Did you blame it on Jackie?
I'll have to say, he said, I'll go tell him. He said, I'll take the blame. So he went in and told Mrs. McCain and went back and told Mrs. Creel what happened. But it ruined the cake. I married him anyway.
Miss Richardson, she was from Omaha. She's a neat little lady, and her thing was English literature, you know. She could read any old book and story and just laugh and just, oh, ain't that wonderful? Us old boys, it wasn't very wonderful to us. But she just enjoyed her reading, you know, and stuff. But one time, a bunch of us old ornery boys took her car out here and put it between the wall and a telephone pole, and she had to call her husband to come get her that night.
Mary Jane missed that one.
But she never did retaliate, you know. She didn't get on us.
You were talking a while ago about the pride of the kids that went to school here and all, competition that we had, whether it be in sports or in agri. I know we had a lot of judging teams, and that was always quite a challenge because we wanted to beat other surrounding towns, and especially Harrison, you know, in livestock judging and dairy products and grains and all that. So there was a lot of pride here, and
I don't know if we've still got as much now as we used to have. I hope we've got more even, but we did have a lot of pride.
Okay, he was talking about the pride and the Agri teams. I wasn't on the one, but we had an Agri team, and I think the year that I was a senior, that was 4th in the nation in soil judging. That was under Johnny Thompson, and Gary Campbell was on it, and John Milligan, and I don't remember, there was another 1 or 2, but they went to Oklahoma to nationals, I know.
Wow.
Because Johnny Thompson, in his wisdom, he was going to, this one guy was like the rest of us. He was from back in the hills, probably never been out of the state of Arkansas. And went in a restaurant, and Johnny noticed that every time this kid would never order. And Johnny told the other 3, he said, I'm gonna send him to play the jukebox, you all order, and then we're gonna make him order. Well, they did. He came back from the jukebox, and the waitress come up and says, what are you having? He says, I'll have what he's having. Didn't teach him a thing. But, like I say, it was good times. And you was talking about discipline. I can remember, see, I came back in the 3rd grade, and I can remember that apparently they had a discipline problem because we had an assembly in front of the old school there. I mean, everyone was out there lined up by class, and they took 3 big old boys and they busted their butts. And I thought to myself, I don't want to ever have to do that. So that lesson stuck for many years. I can remember, you remember the Threet boys?
Yeah.
Not Doctor, but the other. Because I know
Threet.
No, not Kenneth.
Thomas.
Yeah, one of those, because he made a crossbow out of a spring from a car and a metal shaft, and he could shoot over that building with that thing. Bale and wire string.
Well, Paul Ray Parsley did the same thing down here.
Parsley boys.
He used a car spray.
Yeah, we used to modify guns in Agri class, you know. Thought nothing of it. Nobody ever got shot either.
I even made a pistol one time. Took a, I guess
22?
Yeah, 22 pistol. And I don't remember who my information came from, but I had to use a certain size bit. Went right through the center of that, and made the barrel, and then used a cap gun hammer. And, of course, never did shoot it very much. I don't know if it stayed together.
Well, I had Eileen Holt 1st and 2nd. You know, she just, Eileen she made me stand in the corner a time or two for talking to Larry one time.
Talking to Larry?
And she made me stand, and then we went through, your nose in a ring. We had some discipline. And then there was a Miss Brantley, 3rd and 4th grade, a new teacher, and had a Miss Killingsworth. I never had Miss Bailey. I think they'd gone to the state of Washington. Yep. So I never did have her. And the Pollards, we had some new ones. But I had Perna McClellan for, I think, forever. 7th, 8th, she moved up to 9th. 10th, she was teaching a history class. Wrote all that on the blackboard, the prettiest handwriting you've ever seen, that. I don't know, we just went to school. We finished out the 8th grade in '52 in the new building down here. It was the elementary school, they got it done. And we had an 8th grade graduation in the new building. We got out of the basement up there, which when it rained, it's not the basement it is today. It was just a little bitty thing, and when it rained, the water, so sometimes we were sitting with our feet in the water, or somebody got to sweep it out, to get through, because, that was a mess up there. But we had an 8th grade graduation. But Martha, the seniors, those 4 didn't even have a graduation. They just got their diploma sometime or other, and they never did have graduation. And gosh, played basketball and had a play, and there weren't, I don't ever remember discipline problems. When I was in school, I don't know if y'all know anything, if anybody was acting up, we didn't know it, I guess. I don't reckon we knew. It was a fun time. We could go out and play if I'd let them out, and we'd go play baseball or softball or something. And I thought, now today, wouldn't they do that? If you got through with your lessons, you can we'll go out and play. Good times, and basketball was fun.
And you were asking about basketball. I can remember the first game in the gym up here, and that would have been in my 8th grade year. No, I was in the 7th grade, and it was finished before the year was out.
Okay.
And the floor wasn't finished, but they put tape down for the lines. And Raymond Forsey scored the first 2 points in that
Who
gym.
did that?
Raymond Forsey,
Raymond Forsey.
Barbara's brother.
Wow.
I can remember. I had enough sense to remember that. And I can remember the first game I played. It was when we still had the first court, and I didn't make the team that year. And the flu came through, and they all got sick. So we had a tournament at Alpena, and Embry didn't get sick, and Delbert Chappell didn't get sick, and 1 or 2 more. And I was the 6th one, scared to death. Got in that gym. Guess what? They all fouled out but 3. We finished playing 3-on-3. A lot of good times, good people.
We had a lot of fun. You know, we just did different things. I think basketball was probably one of my favorite subject, playing basketball. But I can also remember our teachers when we were in grade school telling us, be sure and don't go near the school building that burns, you know, don't go down there. Well, we couldn't wait till that bell rung. Everyone hit the door, and down in that old building we went. And we played and played and played. And I don't know what my favorite subject was, and I had a lot of good teachers. I couldn't pick a teacher, but it was a lot of fun because the kids, we were all alike, you know, we made no differences, and then I had to go to school. Yellville and Lead Hill got into a little dispute, and they pulled some of us out from Lead Hill and sent us to Yellville. So I had to go to Yellville 6th and 7th grade, and I was miserable. I couldn't wait to get back to Lead Hill in the 8th grade. Yeah, and we'd practice and practice for a long time, and then get up there and forget what we were supposed to do.
Forget our lines.
Forget our lines. I'm not sure I went to school with this bunch down here because I can't remember a lot of the things they're telling.
A lot of good times, good people.